So Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane ended in disaster last night by first round eye poke. And in this video, I want to talk about the narrative that Tom Aspinall quit. I want to talk about how I thought the fight was going and what would have happened in the second round had it not been stopped due to an eye poke. I want to comment on what Anthony Smith and Chael Sonnen said, and I want to talk about what I think should be next for Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane. So with that out of the way, let's get right into it, and let's start off with, did Tom Aspinall quit? Now, you made it 30 seconds into the video. No, you're an idiot. Tom Aspinall did not quit. You see all the Jon Jones D-Riders come out of the woodworks, and they're all coming out talking about, yeah, this is the guy that was supposed to be Jon Jones. Kid couldn't even make it around. We knew it was all hype. You already knew these D-Riders were going to come. I actually had guys in my stream I've never seen before hop on my stream just to glaze Jon Jones. It's amazing that they're willing to defend a PED abusing. I'm not even going to go. You know what Jon Jones has done. These guys continue to defend him, but let me make it clear. Aspinall did not quit. This guy got Gane's eyes gouged completely. I mean, fingers gouged into his eyes completely, where Aspinall couldn't see. Like, a lot of people are talking about, oh, dude, any other fighter would have continued. Tom Aspinall is just scared. He was getting pieced up. He was going to quit no matter what. That's nonsense, dude. He didn't quit. He got double eye poked. And there's actually a statistic going around. 72% of fighters that continue fights after eye pokes go on to lose. What does that tell you? The heavyweight champion of the world, this is a big fight for him, the biggest moment of his life, right? He's been out of the cage so long because Jon Jones stalled and ducked him. He finally gets back. He's in a tough fight. You know, Ciryl Gane's doing well. And Aspinall's just going to quit because he had a load of blood in his nose? That is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard. And if you think that Aspinall quit because he was scared that he was losing the fight and his eye really wasn't hurt, you're just delusional. Go and look at the pictures. His eye, I mean, I'll bring it back up on the screen. Look at it. Look at his fingers in Aspinall's eye at the bottom. Look at that. Gane literally put his fingers 3 inches into Aspinall's eye. And you're going to try to gaslight us and the fans and tell us that he quit. Because you guys are got Jon Jones's meat so far down your throat that all you can think about is, dude, Jones is the GOAT. Aspinall quit. Look what Jones did to Gane. Aspinall quit versus Gane. Jones destroyed him in 3 minutes. There's levels. Like, such brain dead fans. You can tell these kids grew up on iPads. I mean, I don't know what other way to put it. Whenever you're this stupid and AI probably controls your life, there's no critical thinking. There's just, dude, Aspinall quit. He sucks. That's all people can think about because they don't have critical thinking skills whatsoever. They can't put together that, oh, eye pokes happen in fights, and oh, sometimes the guy can't continue. Maybe if Gane wouldn't have shoved his fingers into Tom's eyes, gouging both of his eyes, the fight could have continued, and maybe Gane would have won. Who knows? I still think Tom would have won, but the narrative that Aspinall quit is so ridiculous. And it's largely being pushed by the Jon Jones D-Riders, you know? These guys will go to extreme lengths. They're so desperate and so just excited to have a go to the sport. Their little Pookie Bear, Jon Jones, who's failed multiple drug tests and was scared to fight Aspinall. By the way, let me clarify. Aspinall still KOs Jones. The only reason he was having trouble with Gane is a stylistic thing. Jon Jones has no power in his hands. Tom Aspinall would march forward at 260 pounds and KO Jon Jones stiff. There's a reason he turned down $30 million to fight him. Anyways, the narrative that Aspinall quit is, like I said, it's just brain dead Jon Jones fans. All they can think about is how great Jon Jones is, but they can't give anybody else credit for anything. So anytime they get a chance to rub it in that Jon Jones is their GOAT, that's what they're going to do. So, in my opinion, no, Aspinall did not quit. He got his eyes poked out. He literally couldn't see. He said during the entire time he was consistent, I can't see, I can't see, I can't see. Why would you go into a fight if you can't see? We've seen it happen time and time again. Guys are like, yeah, I'm good. Go back into the fight with one eye or no eyes, and then they get KO'd. Why would you do that? You're at the pinnacle of the sport. You're the heavyweight champ. Why would you risk your entire career and future because you want to be a badass and fight with a poked eye? Which, who knows, man? Sometimes your body's trying to protect you. Sometimes you physically cannot keep your eye open because if you get poked in the eye, right, different people react differently. So sure, there are some people that might have been hit with that same eye poke and be able to continue because everyone's body reacts different. Your brain's going to try to protect you. it's going to try to close your eyes for some people. And that's what happened to Aspinall. His brain was trying to protect his eyes, so he had trouble keeping it open. You can't fight like that. That doesn't make sense. It's not smart. So I think Tom made the right call. I do not think Ciryl Gane should have been disqualified. I do think a no contest was the right call. It was an unintentional eye poke. Now let's get on to, was Aspinall losing the fight? You know what? Yes. Even though I made a video saying Aspinall would destroy Gane, and I still think he will in the rematch. Call me delusional. I still think Aspinall is going to sleep Gane in the rematch. Ciryl Gane was winning the fight, right? It wasn't as domination as people were talking about, like, dude, Ciryl Gane was mopping the floor with Tom. No, he was stinging him with the jab on the outside, peppering him, hit him on the nose a couple times. Tom's nose was bleeding. Tom was also landing some good body kicks, threw a couple head kicks. He was in there, man. He was smiling. He was into the fight, and then the eye poke happens. It's not like Tom Aspinall was getting 10-7'd in the first round. If you didn't know any better and all you saw was what people put on Twitter, you would think that Tom Aspinall just got 10-7'd by Ciryl Gane in the first round. And that's what happened. If you didn't have any context, that's the conclusion that the John Jones D riders are drawing out there. So, yeah, I will concede. Tom Aspinall was losing. It was 30. He was down 30-27 on strikes, 3 strikes. But Ciryl Gane was getting the better of the striking. He was cleaner, and he did the damage. And obviously, the scoring is based off of who does more damage. And at the end of the day, Ciryl Gane was peppering Tom with his jab. Now, is that ring rust? Tom's been out of the cage 14 months. He's barely fought, or 15 months. He's barely fought in the last, like, 2 to 3 years just because of the whole John Jones situation. I don't know. I'm not going to make excuses that he looked rusty. I think Tom Aspinall looked fast. He looked like himself, and he was getting into the fight, and Ciryl Gane was just getting the better of him in the first round. That doesn't mean that the second, third, fourth, and fifth, if it were to get that far, would look the exact same. People make adjustments. I was actually excited to see Tom Aspinall's tool bag and see him adjust as the fight went on, but then Ciryl the Dirty Man Gane decided to double eye poke him. If Ciryl Gane was doing so well, winning the fight so well, why did he double eye poke Aspinall? I don't know. And for the people that said, and hold on, before I say what I'm going to say, let me say I do not think that Gane's eye poke was, like, intentional to the point where, like, he's like, I'm going to poke Tom Aspinall, let's do it right now, poke. I don't think it was like that. However, Ciryl Gane fights with his fingers out. It's an issue with a lot of fighters, and it's intentional that he does fight with his fingers out. And if you don't believe me, why are there some fighters that go through their entire career without ever eye poking anybody? When's the last time you heard of Islam eye poking somebody, or most fighters? Some guys you never hear about an eye poking their entire career. They don't eye poke anybody, but there's these guys like Jones, like Ciryl Gane, like Imavov. They eye poke everybody. It's because they have their fingers out, and I think the way you solve this in the sport is, even if it's not intentional, if you eye poke somebody and the fight has to be stopped, automatic point taken. Let's discourage these guys from keeping their fingers open and ending these fights, and that's how you're going to do it, man. You got to level the playing field, because if a guy is going to go back in there with a busted up eye because he got eye poked, we need to level the playing field. Immediate point taken. I'm sick of the eye pokes, and I also think the glove design of the UFC has a lot to do with it. Demetrius Johnson was saying, I saw that no matter what, you're always going to have eye pokes just because that's how people fight. I understand that, but at the end of the day, the rule set states that you're not to fight with your fingers out. You're supposed to have your fingers curled down. A part of that is the gloves to blame. A part of that is the fighters to blame. I don't know. It is somewhat inadvertently intentional. The fact that some fighters eye poke consistently and others never eye poke, there's something to be said about that. But in turn, Aspinall was losing the first round. It would have been a 10-9 first round for Ciryl Gane. It was just heating up. It was a competitive fight. And it's a shame it ended the way it did, man. But now I want to get on to what Chael, Sonnen, and Anthony Smith said, because this is a perfect response from 2 jobbers that never got to a UFC belt and had double-digit losses. Yeah, Chael, undefeated, undisputed, my ass. This guy lost to everybody. Chael Sonnen says, Tom Aspinall said, I got poked in the eye and I can't see. If you got poked in the eye and you're injured, that's a different convo. But if you got poked in the eye and can't see, and I think he goes on to say he should have continued. So you want him to fight blind, essentially. Chael Sonnen, what he's advocating for is for Tom Aspinall to go out there and fight blindfolded and get folded into a pretzel by Ciryl Gane because he can't see. What a moron. There's a reason this guy's never touched a belt. Anthony Smith, same thing. Chael made a poetic point. You have to be used to it or you're willing to fight with one eye. I did it in Singapore. Yeah, Anthony Smith, you didn't get poked in both eyes. He got poked in both eyes. It was a double eye poke. It wasn't one eye. Sure, one eye was bothering him more than the other, but it was a double eye poke. At the end of the day, Ciryl Gane was doing well. He was peppering up Tom with the jab. He bloodied his nose, and he eye poked him. A double eye poke, and the fight got stopped. Ciryl has no one to blame to him but himself. It's Ciryl Gane's fault this happened. Tom didn't quit. He couldn't continue because his eye couldn't stay open. And like I said, there's a reason that Anthony Smith never became champion. If he wouldn't have been Mr. Lionheart and he actually would have took the DQ against Jon Jones, which was one of the dumbest decisions ever just to live up to his Lionheart name, he should have took the DQ against Jon Jones and said he couldn't continue in a title fight. This guy could have been a champion. Imagine the memes, right? Anthony the Goat Smith. And imagine if he fluked Jon Jones in the rematch. That wouldn't happen, but yeah, there's a reason these morons, Chael and Anthony Smith, are never champions, because they say dumb shit like this. It just goes to show that fighters don't always know what's best for their own kind, other fighters, and it's really embarrassing. So definitely wanted to talk about this. But lastly, I want to talk about what's next for Ciryl Gane and Tom Aspinall. Listen, book the rematch immediately. If you can get it in December, let's do it. These guys, I know Tom Aspinall, it depends on his eye, right? Obviously, he's going to have his eye checked at the doctor. Depending on how severe the injury is, we're hoping it was just a corneal abrasion, and it'll heal maybe in a week and he can get back to training. His nose got bloodied up a little bit, but little bloody nose, that'll be healed in like a week or two. Get these guys back in there in December, January, man. I honestly believe it won't be till February, March we're going to see Aspinall Gane too, which is unfortunate, man. I want to see these guys back in there ASAP. They didn't take too much damage. Ciryl Gane took no damage. Tom Aspinall had a bloody nose, and his eye got poked out. So assuming Tom Aspinall's eye is not like crazy damage, he doesn't need to take another year off his career, I would like to see this booked ASAP, December, January. Get it on the first Paramount card, man. This is so unfortunate. Tom Aspinall's career, it's been such a shame, man. From the Curtis Blades thing where he popped his knee, had to take a year and a half off, to this eye poke situation where now he's getting blamed for quitting because, God forbid, you don't continue a fight because you can't see. You must be scared. You must be scared, guys. Either way, I had to give my opinion on the fight and what people were saying about the narrative that Tom Aspinall quit. And yeah, man, I still stand by everything I said. I still think that Tom Aspinall is going to sleep Ciryl in the rematch, and I still think stylistically Tom Aspinall knocks out Jon Jones in one or two rounds. Just because Jon Jones doesn't have the striking of Ciryl Gane. He has the eye pokes. If he were to beat Aspinall, it would be by 1-2 eye poke. But Jon Jones doesn't have power in his hands, and he's not going to be able to take down a 260-pound Aspinall. Aspinall would sleep Jones. I stand by that. And for all the Jon Jones D-Riders that made it to the end of the video, fuck off.